I'm Travar, and this is the Super Chevy Brothers channel. Today we have another toy review, and it's a Blackest Night Build-A-Wave from McFarlane Toys. So, for the first time on the channel, we are reviewing an entire wave, which means we're doing multiple toys in one video, 5 toys this time. We have the Blackest Night versions of Firestorm, Batman, the Superman, as well as Green Lantern Kyle Rayner, and the Build-A-Figure Atrocitus. I got them a while ago from McFarlane Toys store. They were on sale in a bundle for about 50% off, and it was a really good deal to get the whole wave all at once. But right now, if you want these, you can get them on Amazon, and if you use the link in the description below, you can actually help out the channel by doing so. There are 2 trends with this wave. Number 1, the lack of accessories, which you'll see going forward. And number 2, the eye-catching, show-stopping, amazing head sculpts. These things look really good. So let's start at the Green Lantern, and of course he has a Green Lantern and a Buster Sword here. This is a Kyle Rayner version of Green Lantern. It's also a more modern version instead of the one we got previously with the white and black, and we'll look at him later. With this one, he comes with the torso for Atrocitus. Time for accessories. Let's start with the Power Lantern. It's molded in green plastic, not painted, and a little translucent, so light does shoot through it. It's a little hard to see the detail, but it does look good when you get glimpses of it in the sculpt. And the front and back do look a little different, with the back extruding more, and he holds it pretty well. It's not my favorite accessory, but Green Lantern should have lanterns, and we do get one, even though it isn't anything to write home about. Next, we've got the big, long, green sword. It's not anything that I recognize, but it resembles a Buster Sword. It's big and thick and wide. Sounds gross. It's green and translucent. It does light up if you put a light through it, but looks different from the katana that we got with the other Kyle Rayner. Unfortunately, he can't put his arms together to hold it with 2 hands for 2 reasons. He doesn't have another hand, and the butterfly doesn't allow it. The sword looks cool, but without being able to hold it properly, it kind of falls flat if you want it for an action figure pose. Unfortunately, that's the end of the accessories. It is a Build-A-Figure wave, so we're lucky to get anything alongside Atrocitus parts, but as we'll see with the other figures, the accessories across the whole wave are seriously lacking. Now, looking at the figure itself, the whole thing is textured, and if you look at his ring, it's painted really nicely. His mask is also spot on. It looks like Kyle Rayner fits the character. The emblem on the chest looks really good. It's painted well. It's so clean that I'm pretty sure it's not actually painted. It's just printed on. I really like what they've done with his face. I like the smirk, the smile, which is different from the other figure that we have, which we will take a look at later. I keep teasing you. He looks like the character. One of the things that bothers me, though, is his feet. They're a little too small for this buck. I feel like he falls over too much. It's a little hard to stand them, but some people have better luck with it than me, so it's up to you. To me, you have to have him perfect, or else he'll fall over. He falls over quite a lot. And that's really it with this one. Compared to the rest of the figs in the wave, you get the most bang for the buck with Green Lantern. He's pretty plain, and it's reflected in this figure that he's a plain character. Green Lantern toys should always come with accessories, and this one does. It makes it a little more worthwhile, even though it's kind of the minimum requirements. Now, let's compare Kyle Rayner we got from the single release to this one. They share the same body. There are a few differences, but not really a lot. The one we got in the Black Knight wave, this main one here, is simple. It's style of a lantern. He's pretty modern. He's got the green, got the symbol. That's it, just black and green. The single release is more of a 90s flair Rayner. He's got armored gloves and boots, and the black and white on the chest, and he comes with different accessories, a katana and some samurai armor instead of an actual lantern. Now, should you get both? I can't tell you what to do. Well, but I do think the best reason to do so would be to expand your collection of willpower accessories. Green Lantern should have more accessories so he can, use his willpower to come up with stuff, and the more you have, the more stuff you can do. And if you're a big Green Lantern fan, you probably want both just to get the different accessories. Next up is the Blackest Night Deathstorm, and boy does he look cool. Really rad design. He comes with the Atrocitus head and Atrocitus shoulder guards and the Blackest Night lantern. Nor the hands, nor the heads, which is a bummer, but let's see what we've got here. Here's the lantern. It's a silver plastic. It's got a dark center here, and there's not really much else to it. This is the only black lantern that we get with these black lanterns in the wave. No other accessories, nothing, none, no hands, no black flames, nothing. The only reason to pick these guys up are the sculpts and really liking that Blackest Night storyline, which I do. Anyway, one detail that is neat that he has is the ring sculpted on his hand. Looking at the other figures, they don't have rings, but fortunately this guy does. You might want to dry brush it or something just to get it to pop out a little more. But it's cool that he has his ring. It's too bad the others don't. I think it's just a huge oversight. Now, let's look at the cool Ghost Rider-esque head sculpt they have here. The flames coming out the top of the head have a smoky white look to it. Light does shine through it, and you can change the colors. You might see that a little bit here. I'm going to try to move the lights a bit. And it would make an amazing Ghost Rider sculpt if you had like a 7-inch custom you were making. I think McFarlane did great with this sculpt. That's why you get McFarlane, right? Outside of that, not really much else going on. So let's move on to the articulation. Head goes up this much, which is okay. You're not going to get a flying pose, but it looks fine. And down is not very much at all because of the skull shape, right? Arm goes forward this much. You don't get 360 all around, unfortunately, but you do get it back that much. Because of the shoulder pad, you can't go all the way around, of course. You can come out to 90 degrees here, which is pretty good. I guess you could go higher if you pushed it. And we do get a double jointed elbow. Leg comes out that much forward, not very much back at all. And we do get a double jointed knee, which is a pretty good double joint in this case. McFarlane usually does pretty well on those. Our legs kick out both ends to a split, which holds. This isn't really a loose or gummy figure. Everything kind of holds, and that's good. So your legs kick out pretty well. Going back, we get about this much, which is as expected for a McFarlane figure. Usually going back, there's no issue. It's when trying to go forward, we actually run into problems with that diaphragm cut. And we'll see here that going forward, you don't really get a lot. Most of the work being done here is the waist and legs. The diaphragm isn't really giving you much. I'm sure you can open it up and fix that though. We do get 360 twist all the way around, both that diaphragm top part, that middle stomach part, we can spin and get everything around there. And the sculpt looks really well. It doesn't break up too much. Looking at the ankles or feet here, we get the McFarlane ball joints that we always get. You can twist and turn and get them any direction, and you get a toe. Overall, this guy looks great. He articulates well. Head sculpt is very nice. He fits on the shelf. If you like Blackest Night, you gotta get this guy, and he comes with the lantern, which is better than the others for sure. Next, we've got the Blackest Night Superman. He comes with 2 Atrocitus legs and absolutely nothing else. And no, he doesn't have the ring painted on his finger either. Once again, looking at the face, an amazing head sculpt, really cool looking for a 1/12 scale. You get the silver band at top, the red eyes, sunken, black, ghouly, ghastly, yellow teeth and eyes. The skin's falling off. It looks fantastic, and it's the reason I got the figure in the first place. You do get a cape. The cape is flexible. It's kind of cut up in a cool, ghastly way. I think it would look great in pictures. His articulation is fine. Nothing really out of the ordinary here. He does kind of do what you want him to, but that's all you get with Superman. He is built pretty nice. The silhouette is cool. I like the flayed skin. The outfit is perfect. There's just not really anything else that comes with the guy, and unfortunately, there's not really much else to talk about. He will look good on the shelf with the other Black Lantern figures, but since there's not much else to say, let's move on to Batman. The last figure in this Build-A-Figure wave, besides Atrocitus, of course, is Batman, the Blackest Night Batman. Blackest Night Batman. He comes with 2 Atrocitus arms. The reason I like this one so much is kind of hard to say. He's exactly like Superman. He doesn't come with anything. It kind of sucks. But the design, the zombification, the expression in his hand with the claws, his face screaming, I think this is a real cool zombified version. The Superman is kind of just a stoic look. I think this Batman looks great. The cape has these pointy ends on the shoulders. He's in black and gray instead of the silver and black as the other toys, which looks really, really good. And I think even if you wanted to replace the cape, you probably shouldn't, because this one looks so good. I think he's so cool. You could, in some way, repaint that chest symbol and maybe make him a different kind of Batman if you could repaint a head. I think the body's really cool. I think he just looks great all together. Unfortunately, like I mentioned before, he doesn't come with much. No batarangs, no debris, no alternate heads, no alternate hands, which kind of stinks. But I do like this guy. He looks great on the shelf. And finally, we have Atrocitus, and he is a big one. Yeah, he is. The other figures, they average about 7 inches. He's somewhere around 9, maybe. I had to move my camera angle just to fit him in here. But he looks really good. It's probably my best experience building a figure with McFarlane. This guy fit together well, and he looks like a really solid toy. Getting a little closer here on the figure, you won't get the whole thing because he's so big, but you can see the black parts are textured with kind of that cross pattern, but also the red parts are textured too. On his gloves you got some texture, on his shoulder pads, but you might want to put a wash in there just to kind of bring it out more, because he's so red and the plastic's so red, you kind of miss some of that texture there. Looking in closer, his little red lantern symbol painted very nicely. He does have his ring, thank McFarlane. And his face looks really good too. I think you might want to put a little wash in there too, but this looks like what my mind's eye of Atrocitus for the most part, at least. And surprisingly, his articulation is fantastic. I think his articulation is just as good, if not almost, well, I probably said that backwards. His articulation is good. He can do a rider kick, and if your toy can do a rider kick, the toy can do almost anything you really need it to do. Do watch out though, the shoulder pad pauldrons do plug in, and they can't come out if you're lifting his arms a little too much. You can glue those in if you want, if that's something you want to keep on there forever. But overall, I think this Build-A-Figure Atrocitus, he's good. He's a really good toy to have. So finally, my thoughts on the entire wave all together, McFarlane Blackest Night wave. First, the negatives. Like we saw, there aren't enough accessories. There are too many inconsistencies with the rings not being there, or some toys having no accessories at all, like Batman and Superman. While the sculpts are cool and really neat, you'd still want something there, especially if you're not buying the whole group to get Atrocitus. It really does feel pretty empty. Outside of that, as toys and putting them on the shelf, these look really, really good, and they're kind of cool to have out, and I kind of wish I pulled them out earlier. I think if you can get them on sale, that's the way to go. Overall, I give these toys a C+ as a wave. I think the characters are cool. Batman, Superman, Green Lantern, Atrocitus. The weakest one is Deathstorm, and that's okay as far as character listing. And the sculpts are really, really good. They look nice. Somebody's going to see them on your shelf. They're going to ask you questions about them. But just as a consumer side, maybe you kind of want a little more for the individual characters there. Outside of that, get the wave if you want. I think it's worth getting if you like the storyline. Thanks for listening to the video here. Watching the video here. I'm around. I got a podcast, Super Chevy Bros, gaming podcast. You'll see more toy videos coming soon. I'm trying to fit more in as much as I can. But thanks for sticking around. There are some more photos if you want to see those at the end of the video. Have a good day.